Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Dialectic Space Podcast. It's with me again, Ibrahim Asonko. I am the host of this platform, and every now and then I invite Gambians to talk to them about their journey, their story, their experiences, and their challenges, in hope that we inspire and challenge other people to learn a thing or two from them. And today, I'm excited to have with me brothers that I've known for a very long time, and I personally consider myself as part of their family. And because I know them personally, I know their personal stories, but also a part of having them here is to celebrate their stories, one that I've been hugely a part of. I think it's important as immigrants in the United States and also elsewhere to understand and share, what is it that has worked out for them? What is it that has benefited them? But what are things that they also wrestle with in their professional journey in the United States? And so my goal today is to understand their part of their story and to bring that directly to you. Hopefully, that we can all benefit from what I think is really an incredible story that they have. So, to begin with, these are brothers, same mom and dad, all three of them, and they've all been in the U.S. Army, not the U.S. Army, but the U.S. military in different capacities. And the eldest among them is Pabi Njai. His formal name is Modlamin Njai. He's right here. He served in the U.S. military under the Marines. And we also have the middle person, Ali Njai. Ali is in the U.S. Navy and currently based in Japan. And the youngest person, who also, by the way, just got married. And welcome to the club, Usman.
Manyo.
Mano, Usman Nombera Dinoti, and he just got married. And he also used to be in the Air Force, but he is out now and currently based in Ohio, and why he's also, I believe, going to school. Welcome, Miss Dinjais. Welcome to the Dialectic Space Podcast. How are we feeling?
Good to go, man. Good to be here.
Feeling good, feeling good.
But I'm just curious though, how did Badibunkas ended up in the United States? Not only in the United States, but making the decision to get into. By the way, they're from these individuals are from Farafenye, so between how the relationship goes between. I'm from Kiang, that's where my roots are, and so that relationship will forever be there. But I'm pretty sure there are people who are interested in understanding how the three brothers make the decision. Did it start with Malamin Jai, then it went to Ali, then Usman, who is the last one to come? Or what really informed those decisions, or how did it come about? But before we even get into that, I would like to know our guests that we have today. So to begin with, each of you, please formally introduce yourself to our audiences, and you can also tell us what you do now and where you're based currently. I'll begin with the oldest, Molamin Jai, Pabi.
The oldest, but the least wisest for sure. Everybody from Papin Jai knows me very well. So I'm assuming if any of your viewers are from Farata, they will know exactly Papin Jai. But yeah, my name is Modlamin Jai. I currently reside in Ohio, right outside between Cincinnati and Dayton areas where I'm at right now. And I am now a systems engineer for GE Aerospace. But like he mentioned, the purpose of this conversation is to basically, talk about our journey and hopefully it inspires someone, right? So I'm happy to be here, Brahma, and thank you so much for having us. I look forward to the conversation. Thank you.
Of course. Ali?
Man, that was a good introduction. How do I top that one? My brother. So my name is Alin Jack. Everybody that knows me growing up from Farado, obviously a model. I mean, everybody that grows up in Gambia, you gotta have a second name. So that's the truth, Alin Jai, I'm currently, like you said, I'm in Japan, active duty Navy. I'm an aviation electrician, so I work on the avionics on aircraft components. And I'm glad to be here, bro. You're the only one that can get me out of my comfort zone to do this. So let's do this.
Let's get it. Let's go. Usman, please.
All right. So he said he is the least wisest, and then went on to say he works for GE Aerospace. So I don't know what I can say after that. So, like he said, you're the only one that can get us out of our comfort zone, because I've never done this, and I don't know if I ever will. It's just like it's kind of nerve wracking, like
Yeah,
just sitting in front of camera.
yeah.
But I am the youngest, and I'm the Manyakudo as well. I just got
Mhm.
married 3 weeks ago. Today is actually the third week from the day I got married. So still on honeymoon until 2028.
Jasa.
Uh,
Kayak jasa.
back at the phone.
You
But
you
yeah,
you're
I
doing
am
great.
currently in school. Since I got out the Air Force, I went back to school. I'm going to the Ohio State University. I should be getting done in a couple of semesters here. I'm studying data analytics right now.
That's dope. That's really powerful. And Ali, you're also going to school, I know, and Mo, you already just recently completed your masters as well. Talk to us briefly about what is each of your academic journeys, or what level you're at right now.
Well, yeah, I got an undergrad in electrical and computer engineering from Miami of Ohio, Oxford. And I got my grad school is a MBA, Master's in Business Administration with Executive Management from Ohio University. And like you said, it was about 2 years ago is when I finished that program. And I'm still in the engineering realm because my job right now is in research and development, which I love because I'm a nerd. I love that. But the goal is the reason for getting the MBA and executive management is to like get into some sort of leadership. And I think as we go through the conversation, we will get to see how all that got triggered because I think the military had a huge role to play in that because I found it helped me find my path as to become a leader or how to lead the leadership styles that I want to be on, you know what I mean? And I think the military played a huge role in that. So I think through the conversation, we'll be dropping, gems on how that all came into fruition. But yeah, so I have a master's and I did some data too. So, kind of but yeah, that's where we are officially, education wise. The masters is what I stopped at. So
And obviously, my boy Ali, we went to Nusrat High School together, by the way, and that's when our paths crossed. And since then, he's been my brother and best friend, and we literally do everything together. So I definitely
Yes,
know a lot
sir.
about him. So just to say that,
Oh,
I know you've been in the Navy for a long ass time, and excuse my French,
Yeah.
you've been in the military for a while, and you're also going to school as well. So what are you currently studying?
Right now I'm going through Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Working on my bachelor's and master's program at the same time. They have this program where you can do both. I'm working on aviation maintenance management. So hopefully in a few years, in a year or two, um, I'll be done with that. But I'm taking it. No money. But yeah, currently that's what I'm working on. Actually, I got some homeworks to do right after this. Got some deadlines, but yeah, I figured I would just go into what my profession is right now in the Navy. It'll be an easier transition, and I'm really passionate about what I do. So I said, why not? That's where I'm at right now.
So I think a lot of people that know you, at least, or are familiar with you, they're excited at just, oh, I mean, really proud of the nature of the relationship three of you have, in terms of your relationship. Not just people that are, like the three of you are same mom and dad, but some of you who are not related by blood to you. Like we see how that relationship is and how beautiful it is. And I think also to a very great extent, the relationship that you have with your dad, who is also in Gambia and very political, but also somebody that I really admire and like. But I say that to also that for us to understand because it's important. Like there's a lot of people who are related, but they don't jive or vibe, or they're not as close as how like a lot of what I see between the three of you. I do really want to understand what influenced a lot of that. How do the three of you challenge each other, hold each other accountable? How do you sort of push each other to say that, hey, I think you should do this. You set this goal for yourself. I think you should really try to push further. What is really the motivating factor that keeps all of you so grounded and so close? I'll begin with Pabi.
yeah, I'm on the spot. Okay, so I think the root of everything is accountability, right? So with me and my brothers, what I've realized and what I've learned, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this one time, and I know it's being recorded, so they're probably gonna play it for me, later on to be like, you said this. Remember that? I have learned so much from these two that I don't think they even know, because I think the biggest issue in our society is thinking that if you're older, that makes you automatically the wisest or the smartest, and that's quite the contrary. And that's what I have learned, and it's very humbling to learn that if you see your little brothers that are like, on it, they have goals, they have aspirations, and they're not scared to go get it, right? And then you talk to them about it, and you lay out a plan, and then you start working towards that plan. So just that open communication, open dialogue, and that accountability aspect of it, and not be afraid just because you're the eldest guy when telling kid about it, like none of that. They tell you, hey, this is wrong, and you're like, you know what, it is wrong, maybe I'm tripping, you know what I mean? And then you learn from each other, and then you kind of move on. So love is always there, and I think accountability is one of those main pillars that you have to keep that relationship going, is keeping each other accountable and be able to take constructive criticism in a way that you can use to grow. So I think that's the it's no secret, but that's kind of like the formula I think I use. And my brothers are much wiser than me, so I'm sure they have a lot more in their pockets that they're gonna pull out. They're gonna pull out to add on to that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you're the youngest. So really, I'm sure that your big brothers are like, they carry you with them a lot, or you carry. I mean, it could also be the reverse. I don't want to speak for you.
No,
So
it's definitely not. They definitely.
We carry each other. We carry each other. There
So
you
the
go.
thing is, I feel like we figured out when, and let me rephrase. I feel like we figured a time and place for everything.
Mhm.
That helps us. So when it's time to joke, we're like, you know, just jabbing at each other
Yeah.
constantly, which is most of the time. But when it's time to be serious, we also
all
know
the
when to
time.
be serious. It's like 99.99%, but that's 0.01%. When you gotta get serious, and we know to put a pause on this one, and then get our heads straight. So that helps us get everything in line. And then we definitely have our second dad here. He's the first one to come. So when he came, he kind of waved the path for us. So we just followed,
Facts.
you know.
Facts. It's just
Well,
being very humble. Kavo ha. I'm feeling think I'm gonna but in Kabila for that.
oh, you
Anyways.
can, you can, you can,
Be,
you
yeah,
can.
ngola mo ngola susu ngofo. But
Yes.
then I'm going to ngam
Ah,
fight you for now. But anyways, he's just being very humble. Kavo ha. I mean, my brother, to look on Sakilo now, he laid the foundation. This man right here. So, Tonyala, yeah, we can use Hakilo every now
yeah,
and then. You know what I'm saying? But you know. I tell you, in cool foundational landing, so we're following, and
yeah.
we communicate. And I think the most effective thing that we have besides accountability is communication. Remember more kono nga fo nyoe, and then we just talk about it, and we
Yeah.
just move on. I think that's the most important thing. More can I for warranty, you know?
So,
Yeah, that's
what
it.
influence do the nature of, and obviously, I don't want to make you guys feel like I'm scamming you because of things that I said to you that I'm gonna ask are directly removed from what we're talking about. But I think it's important. I do really want to understand. There's a lot of noise coming from one of us. I don't know which one, but okay, let's stop now. But I do really want to understand, what impact do your parents have on each of you or collectively? Either because, again, we see a lot of families, like we see a lot of parents, they don't have that connection with their kids. For one reason or the other, we don't need to get into that. But I think the nature of relationship that you have with your dad, because I've been there where, like, you guys really be playing with your dad, literally calling each other names.
Hey, the running joke is our grandparents died when we were before either we were born or we were very young. So we took we give him the job to kind of give him the give him the butts of the jokes, because we don't have them here to do it. But to be honest, that's fundamental, right? Like I think the foundation of what we just talked about, the communication aspect, to be able to speak freely, that started with them, right? So we can tell them what we want and what we, you know what I mean? And there will be disagreements. Like, mandingol ko inyo ni no get daki ka inyo ni no be dakono like a nyoki but we get no kundu kadi. So like you're gonna have conflict, bro. There's no, that's science, two things in one place, there's going to be conflict, right? So the fact that there was that open door where like you can go talk to your parents, I think growing up, like that's the biggest thing. And I think what helped us is because our dad, I think, traveled at an earlier age, and I think that kind of exposure like helped him to open that door for us to be able to talk to him, right? So I think that's fundamental to our communication aspect of it. And you guys can chime in there, but I think that's like a critical recipe in a sense, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's unfortunate that most of our parents back home have to portray this figure of themselves as they have to be strict all the time, and I don't think that's the case with our dad. I mean, there's times to be strict and there's times where we can joke around, and I think that really help bond us even closer. You know what I mean?
I think he's the original jokester. Everybody that knows my dad knows he's the funniest guy.
He will roast
So
you.
even if you don't roast him, he's gonna roast you. So you have no option but to jab back. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So your dad is very well traveled and left the country very early, and you guys from your roots is in Badibu, and you moved to Combo area, and I think my most prevalent recollection is Farato became home to you guys, and
Yeah.
Pabi became the first person to have an opportunity to come to the United States. Now and then, all of you sequentially followed as well. My question is, what are the odds, Pabi, when you first came? Uh, how did it come about to make the decision to join the United States military? Because obviously, when you're in the Gambia, there's very few of us who live in the Gambia and be like, I want to be in the military, right? Either in the Gambia or abroad, because we know very little about it. But if you would
Yeah.
walk us through how that came about, and if there's any connection to between when you started and introducing this to it as well, please feel free to share with us.
Wow, it's a very good question, and thank you for that question. It was not a dream. Let me tell you that right now. It was not a dream of mine to come to America and then become them kid with a body. So I never thought I would be carrying a gun, or anything like that. And to see myself in the Marine Corps, honestly, it was just the journey, right? The life that we were living, the path, and the decisions that we were making at every juncture is what led to it. And because I remember this conversation that I had with Mauda vividly when I decided that I'm going to join the military. He was just about done with high school. We toured some colleges. He was going to go to UT, Toledo. We even went over there and all that stuff. And I told him, I said, hey, look, man, I dropped out because, mind you, at this time in my life, I have not had $2,000 at a time. Like, hey, I have 2,000 and it's mine, And then I went to a college and they gave me the projected fees that I'm going to pay. It was like, by the time I'm done, I'm going to have like tens of thousands of dollars in student loan debt, maybe 100, And then I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to pay. Like in my head, I couldn't fathom that. Like that's a lot of money at that time to have indebted to me that I got to pay back, right? So I came back and we sat down. I told him, hey, look, I'm going to do the military. You do not have to do the military, but this is why I'm doing the military. And now we're back to that communication piece again, right? So I told him, I'm doing the military because I don't want to owe this much in student loan debt, right? I can do 4 years. When I'm done, they will pay for my college, and I can even take extra credit hours and get my master's. You know what I mean? And when we had that conversation, he's like, yeah, that's cool. So we were going to wait until he's done with high school, get into college, and, he's settled in, and then I'll go to boot camp. But then after the conversation, he came to me not long after that, and he said, you know what? I think if you're going to do it, I'm going to do it too, because all the things you said, it's the same things I'm going to have to deal with if I go to college anyway, right? I'm going to have the student loans. I'm going to have this. I'm going to have that, right? So we decided, and I was in the mindset of, hey, I need to go like ASAP. So I did my ASVAB. We actually did our ASVABs the same day.
Together, yep.
Yeah, together, right? And I think he scored higher than I did. I don't know, So, and what is it called? The Army was the first to call me, and I wasn't interested. And I was going to go Air Force, but they wanted me to wait for 6 months to prep me. But at this point, I was just ready for the change of scenery. So I went to the Marine Corps, and then the uniform is nice, right? So the guy, he came over, he's like, "Hey, why do you want to join?" And I told him I was 155 pounds at this time. I can run really fast. And I went there, I ran past all the tests, and he's like, "Dude, you're ready to go. You don't have to get into any PT programs. I'm on medical no play your market back. No, but ultimately, fast forward, I ended up going to boot camp while he's working through his paperwork to go to boot camp. He chose the Navy. Obviously, we talked about that a little bit ago. And the funny story is, I got out of boot camp. The next day, he went into the hotel to go to boot camp. So we literally had a day together after I got out of boot camp, right? So that's kind of how it started. It was all based on a plan of like, hey, we're going to do this as a temporary occupation. And then when we're done, then we'll build a career off of what we want to do. But I will let him talk about his career path in there. But at the end of his 4 years, this part I'm going to touch up on. We had a conversation and he said, "Bro, I like this shit." You know what I mean? I like this. Excuse my language. But, that was literally what he said, word for word. Quoted him. It's like, "Man, I like this." I look at it, I say, "Bro, if you enjoy this, if you enjoy doing this, then why are you going to get out? Like, this is it. That's your calling, man. Go ahead, do it. But if you're going to do it, be the best at it. Be as good as you can be, grow in it, and fast forward, here we are. So that was kind of like what triggered it. It was all, for me, it was all about, hey, how can I use this opportunity so that I can get to that end goal? And through the journey, it totally shifted my view on life, world, and people. But we can get into that as we go through the conversation.
So, Maudo, walk us through. So, you got in as well. How did you come to decide that you want to get into the Navy, and how has that been for you so far?
Well, our stories are very similar. Like you said, he was going to college already, but I was graduating out of high school, right? I got accepted in college, University of Toledo. I was going to be a Toledo Rocket. I was going to do mechanical engineering, got accepted. I did my orientation, got my room, everything, roommate. I made people, I'm networking. And then one of the advisors hit me and said, "Hey, you got to pay this 7,000." I remember it was $7,000 that I was short, right? At the time, mind you, this is 2012. Like he said, we didn't have $7,000. Like, I'm sitting here like, how am I gonna make $7,000 to pay these people so I can go to school? So I applied for student loan just to see, just to gauge where we're at. And then, and the stipulations and what they don't tell a lot of people, I read the fine print, and then what I saw, like how much I would have to pay back for just the $7,000, it didn't make sense at all. So that's when him and I really had this conversation. He was already in the process. So I was like, you know what? I can just do this too. Just do 4 years, They'll pay for my college when I get out, and I can go to school while I'm still in. It was never a dream of mine. And I'm gonna be completely honest. It was never a dream. You knew me from Nusrat. Yeah, I mean, that's the truth. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna. It was never a dream of mine to, be in the military. That was never. It never crossed my mind.
I mean, you were
But
in
I was like,
science too, in the science classes in Nuzat High School. So you were like,
exactly. I was all right. There's more to be Let's not even get into that. But anyways, yeah, I decided, you know what? Let me join the military. So I went with the Navy because Marine Corps, I'm not doing that. So I decided to join the Navy, and then the rest is history, man. When I got in, I was like, yeah. We're gonna get into that later, but yeah, that's how I joined the Navy, and it'll be 13 years next month. So
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, we're still going.
Hey, Usman, please.
Iba like kick out go football ke bar ado bela nyabi mata.
Oh no,
Kumbalik, I'm going to kumbalik.
It's true.
3 points.
I didn't kaja.
But yeah, that was the last one to come. So I came in 2016, and then and it wasn't long until Mo was supposed to get out. So I came in July, and he was supposed to get out in November. And then they pitched the idea to me. They're like, you already finished high school, so you might, want to do military. I was like, nope, I am not doing that. I came in 2016. I didn't join until 2021. But I went through college, so I went to community college, Columbus State. So I did my associates over there, and I graduated in 2019. So when I was done, because community college is pretty cheap, so my financial aid covers it basically. And I was working at Amazon at the warehouse, hauling them boxes. So they also gave me some money to go to school, which was nice. So I was able to do my community college without any loans. And when it was time to transfer to Ohio State, I went to Ohio State my first semester. I registered for classes, and then it was time for school. So I went in after financial aid already kicked in. I still had to pay $7,200. I still have the screenshot of it.
What's up with 7,000?
I
Why
don't
are you
know,
talking about
man.
this
It's a
7,000?
standard.
When you said 7,000, I'm like, ooh, they're
Yeah.
targeting us. But yeah, so I was like, nah, I can't do this because I didn't want to take loan just as they did. And I already saw more because he already finished in 2016. He was using the GI Bill to go to school. I was like, yeah, I want to do that. I don't want to pay no student loans. Then I dropped my class, and then the next day I went to a recruiter. I called them while I was on my way to a recruiter. I'm like, hey, I'm going to a recruiter right now. I'm gonna do this. They're like, we told you you could have done it sooner, but
Yeah.
God's time. Then I went to the recruiter, and they advised me to check out the Air Force first, which I'm very thankful for because it's the best branch.
You're welcome.
We're not gonna get into that right now. We're not gonna...
It's the best branch. But yeah, I went to a recruiter, and then I talked to him, and then he gave me a test. Everything took like 2 weeks from when I went to the recruiter to me testing, because when I got there, he gave me like a practice test, but I was already out of college, so it wasn't so hard, the ASVAB. So I took that, and then he set me up for a test, but I had to wait 6 months just in the DEP program to get initiated into getting into the Air Force. It's a whole process, but yeah, I went there. It was September 2020, and then I left for boot camp February 10th of 2021, and I just got out last year.
So this is also extremely important for most of us. Don't but Gambia. The idea of army, American army. What comes to your mind first is kiddo.
Yep.
You could look at American Bankole, not really understanding fully well that U.S. military is one of the largest employers in not only in the United States but also around the world, right? And there's different roles, there's different professional responsibilities people have been hired to do. And so I really want us to get into that a little bit. What are some of the misconceptions that you had before getting to the military, or even fears that you had? And what, in fact, when you got in, you come to realize that, look, actually, there are really wonderful professions and roles that you can do in the army, including administrative functions, logistics, engineering, data, among other areas. What are some of the misconceptions you had before getting in, and when you get in, how that evolution happened for you?
Well, I think for me, I didn't know much about it when I was kind of like the guinea pig, right? Which explains why I joined the Marine Corps, which I would not have changed even if I went back in time, because right?
He would choose the
No,
Air Force.
I think out of all of us, like the one that went into a spot where like guns and stuff were involved heavily was probably me, right? I was already operating in the Marine Corps, and again, I wouldn't change it for the world. There was so many misconceptions about, you're gonna die there, they're gonna send you to war, all this stuff. But then growing up, I remember, like, in our faith in Islam, it says when it's your time, it's your time, and where your time is where it's gonna happen, right? So in my head, I'm like, well, if that's where I'm supposed to die, like, there's no way of avoiding it. Somewhere, somehow, it's gonna happen at some point. So that was unwavering in my head. Like, there was no doubt in my mind about like joining it and saying that. Because I'm gonna share a story that's kind of like probably like a little personal or whatever. But like Ali, when I was going on my last deployment, I told him, I said, hey, this is my last. Hey, I'm out. If anything happens, this is my life insurance, man. Make sure you build a crib for moms. And the rest, I don't care what you do with it. You can do whatever you want with it, And when I came back, he told me, he's like, man, you scared me. out of me, man. When I was like, but it's the reality of it. That's the whole open communication aspect of it, just to understand the reality of what we were in at that time, right? But prior to me getting in, to be honest with you, like my concept of it was solely, my biggest motivation was solely going in, get out using the benefits to get my education, and then build the life that I want for my family. That was my main focus. I was almost tunnel visioned on that. And then as I got in is when I got exposed to a lot more information and a lot more a concept that people have about the military, as what you just mentioned, like Kidisikalal. And the thing is, there's a lot of humanitarian things that we actually did while we were in. There was a lot of, and there's so many things that I said that are not true, because if you're in the military, you actually realize like most of the people you're serving with are all minorities. You know what I mean? A lot of us are like Latinos, blacks. You know what I mean? So it's like it's such a great I feel like combination of having so many different people that come from so many different backgrounds to come together and become a brother. And the thing is, the brotherhood you create there, like it's different from sibling brotherhood or other friendship brotherhood. This is built on something else, and it's something that's almost unbreakable, right? And I think my brothers can vouch for that, because I have friends that I served with that to this day, like I can call them at 4:00 in the morning. I say, hey, I need you. You know what I mean? And then they will be ready to go. You know what I mean? So
and you did some
like
deployment.
Yeah.
You did some deployment as well. If you would just add that to it a little bit, where were you deployed?
So my deployment was SP MACTAV, and it was mainly supposed to be in Bahrain. And it's just, there was just some missions that they had run over there, and I can't go too much into detail, obviously, because of a whole bunch of other stuff. But like that's where we were solely based out of. But I went to a few countries in that area, Bahrain, Iraq, Jordan, and places like Kuwait. So it was quite an eye-opening experience to see what is going on in that area, and what the American military presence is over there, and some of the things they're doing. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't even remember what the question was.
No,
You got me lost, man. It's full of
Hey,
philosophy.
thanks for saving me. Thanks for saving me, because I forgot too.
no. The question is, I don't blame you. The question really is, we're diving into, when you're from Gambia, the idea of military is.
Oh yeah, the misconceptions about the military.
Yes.
Yeah. So my experience of the military completely different from his experience of the military, right? When I was joining, we didn't tell our parents immediately, because obviously they would have the same mentality, right? Right? And I'm going to tell you something that you probably already know. Maybe I told you before, but since I joined the Navy, the only time I held a gun in an official manner was in boot camp. I shot a gun in boot camp. It was a shotgun. I shot a shotgun and a pistol in boot camp. That was the only time that I held a gun in my hand in an official capacity, right? Because that's not my job. Like, there's so many different jobs in the military that people don't really realize. And that's where the misconception comes in, right? Because everybody thinks, oh my God, when you hear military, it's just kidolam, the guns and bombs, right? But there's so many different jobs. Like, my job is completely unrelated to anything that had to do with guns. Like I said in the beginning, I fix aircraft components. That ain't got nothing to do with guns. You know what I mean? Like, all I do is aircraft goes flying, comes back, there's something wrong with it. I troubleshoot and try to figure out what it is, and then I fix it. So, and it's like this in the military. Like, people in the same branch, the exact same branch, there are people in the Navy whose experiences are completely night and day from mine, because they do something that is, not in my realm of responsibility. But yeah, what I didn't know much about the Navy when I joined either, because just like I said, like, we just wanted to get out and do something that is gonna help us, better our future. So I didn't know what I was gonna do when I joined the Navy. Talk about leap of faith, right? We just went in. I just like, all right, let's do it. But I mean, it's been working out for me, and that's why I keep re-enlisting.
So for me, still, if I tell people that I was in the Air Force, they're like, "Oh, you fly planes?" I'm like, "What? No." They're like, "You fly planes?" I'm like, "No, I was a civil engineer. What do you mean?" But yeah, the military has all kinds of jobs from, like you said, from logistics to like transportation, nurses, literally any job that you can think of. So the military works as a society of its own, basically. Like they
Yes.
literally have everything. So you can go there and be a plumber. Like if you're a plumber, you don't have to worry about carrying guns unless it's in like a dire situation where you know. But unlike Ali, I had to stay qualified every 6 months. But even then, when I've deployed to Kuwait twice. I didn't have to carry a gun except for like few days because it was exercise mode. We had to carry it through that time. But other than that, I didn't have to carry because I was a civil engineer. All I had to do was fix buildings and stuff. I didn't have to carry no guns unless it's in a dire situation where you had to. But it's a big misconception that if you go to the military, you're going to be shooting at things.
Yeah.
You're probably not gonna shoot after boot camp ever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the thing. And if one more thing, if you're in the Air Force, you're not flying planes. Please, we have pilots.
Well, I'm also curious though, in terms of, obviously you guys' entrance was pretty seamless, and you stayed in for a couple of years, and two of you left. Ali is still in. In terms of your formative, years in the military, like as you're getting in, what were some of the most enduring challenges that you experience? Like in terms of, is it something that has to do with the culture, or something that has to do with the food, or the people, or setting in? Like, what is it that you can vividly remember as really a challenge that you eventually, like overcome, and then you're like, yeah, this is has a lot to do with because of where I come from, and setting into a new work environment, than has to do with the institution of the military itself.
Ooh.
I,
You want
I
me to
can
go
go
first
first.
again, Ali, or you want to take it?
I'll take this one. I'm gonna
Sure.
answer this by answering with my very first challenge that I faced in the military, and that was in boot camp.
Okay.
That was, like I said, I didn't know anything about the Navy. I knew that they go on ships. I had this idea that yeah, I'm gonna probably learn how to swim. Right? So yeah, man, we're from Farah. In
Yeah.
Gambia, you don't swimming pools are a luxury,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and you don't get to swim. Because of Obama left you down, we just don't have lifeguards. That's what it is. Obama left down, that's just talk. But anyways, so they're growing up in Ghana. I never knew how to swim. Right.
Yeah.
I think that was my very first challenge, my very first test in the military, and I like to highlight that because it just showcases resilience, right? And you see what you want, and you just trying to go for it, and you don't stop. So, coming when I went to boot camp, obviously we had the runs and the push-ups and all that other stuff that what I'm saying, that we do on a daily basis. It wasn't hard, but the very first time we went for the swimming test was my very first eye-opening moment. Like, wow,
Mhm.
man, just don't laugh.
I love the wow. I wonder where you got that from.
Say what a wow.
you know, you know where I got this wow from. That's the host. He's the best person to say, oh, wow. It's just wow impressions are crazy. But anyways, I got on this platform that was like maybe 10, 20 feet. I can't remember how high up it was. And then they said, jump.
Mhm.
Mind you, I've never been in a swimming pool before. But I've been going down the chundu. Man, we're laughing at this now because I looked up. I've never been in a pool, but I looked up and it's all blue. And in that split second, I said to myself, "What are you doing? What are you doing here?" But then I had to remind myself, like, "Hey, you're here for a reason, right? So this is just a little obstacle in the way. If these people are doing it, so can you. You know what I mean?" So they pulled me out because obviously I couldn't pull myself out. They pulled me out, and the dude looked at me. He said, "You're gonna be doing this for a while." I said, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna be doing this for a while." But hey, guess what? Within a few weeks, I was proficient enough to pass. I
Yeah.
think that's a lesson in this. Like, when things get tough, just don't say, "Oh my God!" Your very first obstacle, don't say, "Oh my God, I can't do this." So, because there were people in there that was like, "All right, this is too much for me," and then they leave. So I knew why I was there, and I knew going back was not an option. So I just powered through it. I think that was my very first test in the military. I hope that answered your question.
That is a beautiful, beautiful.
It
So
did. Yes. Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
I'll go next. For me, they went in when they were like what, 18, 19,
Mm.
18.
Yeah, I
I
was
turned 22
18.
in boot camp.
I was
I was
20.
18 years old.
I was 24 when I went in. So I was one of the oldest people in my flight.
Grandpa.
So it was kind of a breeze for me, honestly. I didn't have any of those challenging moments. The only thing that kind of came to me was the first morning when I was sleeping really nice because I was tired, moving around all day. They make you move around all day before you get to boot camp at night. So I was having the best night's sleep, and all of a sudden, all I had was like boom, 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 boom. I'm like, who is doing that? And I just opened my eyes and I realized where I was. But from then, I was like, oh shit, I gotta, get in the mode of boot camp. But since then, I was one of the oldest people in my flight, so I didn't really have any of those challenging moments because, like you said, I know why I was there. I know my why, and I know I just have to go through this. I've already had the conversation when I was going to the hotel with Mo. He's like, keep your head down, do what they tell you to do when they tell you to do it, how they tell you to do it. I was like, okay, this is gonna be easy.
Easy
And
day. Yeah.
that's
That
literally what I did. Hey, do this, I do it. Do it now, I do it that time. So all I had to do was just, go through
The
the
motion.
phase, and then that's it. I graduated, I got to my base, one of the best people I've ever met. And that made my military career so easy because the people that you work with make or break your career. So
Yeah.
the people that I had the opportunity to work with were just one of the amazing, best people that I've ever had to work with, and that made my whole career so easy. I didn't have to go through like some of the challenges some people will go through.
Incredible. Look, I just want to add one thing. I think Ali basically answered it because I had a challenge with the swimming as well. But the key word that I picked up from everything he said was resilience, right? So so the Marine Corps boot camp is a little bit longer. So it's like a 3 month training, right? And training day 17, I had a hernia. So for all of you guys who don't know what a hernia is, it's like when your intestine literally pops out of your muscle, right? It's very painful. I had it training day 17, and they gave me an option. They said, we could drop you, and then you can go get a surgery, and then you can come back. And then I was like, we're not doing that. You know what I mean? So it's reducible. So when it pops out, I just have to excuse myself and pop it back in, right? So going through it, it's so weird he mentioned what he mentioned because I asked myself that same thing. Like, what are you doing here, bro? Like, where the sleep so cool I said and more bit I feel no, you don't
Yeah.
saying you like what are you doing? But then
Yeah.
I remembered exactly why I'm there, and then that resilience I think was key. And Usman touched on something very important. Like the people you work with is very important. The people you have around you is crucial, right? So being there, like I said, the brotherhood, you know what I mean, and sisterhood, because the sisters that we have there are also very incredible. So like the people you serve with is critical, and resilience is what kept me going personally as well. That's what got me through every obstacle and reminded myself like, hey, I don't even think of it as, hey, somebody else has done it and I'm gonna do it. I think of it as, I want to do this and I'm gonna do it. And yeah, my mother told my
Yeah.
mom that one time. It's like, did he tell you he's gonna do it? It's like, yeah, he's gonna do it. So it's like that's always been my motto. Like I always say that to myself. Like it's not about somebody else doing it or not doing it. It's like, can I picture myself doing something? All right, now I'm gonna lay a plan out and then I'm gonna work as hard as I possibly can to prove to myself that I can do this and then do it. You know what I mean? So resilience, I think that's the main takeaway that I got from Ali, and I think that lines up very well with the challenges that we had to conquer.
Yes,
Mm.
and Mauda and Usman, very quickly, part of, I always say this, part of the reason if I ever want, should, or desire to join the military is the reason I want to do it is because of, just the discipline and the mental acumen that it has, it gives you. Because I've never been in the military, but some of the books that I read or some of the stories that I hear, everybody talks about that, either from the generals, from their TED Talks, or from some of their books that they publish. It's one that you can never understand until you fully understand or appreciate unless you are inside. If you would, both of
Yes.
you would talk very briefly, what impact does that have, does being in the military has in you, in terms of your training, in terms of your experiences, in terms of your what levels of discipline or layers of discipline or mental grade or strongness or fortitude of your mind has it given you that you otherwise would never have gotten that if you are not in the military?
Uh the
Oh, you're gonna
military.
go?
No, go ahead.
No, 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 no.
Kiba,
After
barang
you.
kiba ya
Nani?
dila, barang kiba.
Manyo kuto bambang ta
Ayam.
mbekoma. Mbekoma, mbekoma.
Don't Mr. Honeymoon, Mr. Honeymoon.
Oh, wait.
The
So I
love.
feel like the military teaches you certain things about life that only the military can teach you. Like you have to learn how to be patient. They literally break you down to test your patience. Like they will tell you to do something that makes no sense, but you have to do it because it's not about what you're doing, it's about what it's teaching you. You have to get that teachable moment from what they're teaching you. And that starts day one of basic training. Like the whole of basic training, what I gathered from it is to break you down and build you up mentally for that. Like ala film ko be more like they do things repetitively. Like if they currently like you wake up at this time, you eat at this time, you get into a routine that I don't think if you're not in the military or in like a strict program, maybe if you're an athlete and then you have like a certain routine that as a team that you do, I don't think you're going to be able to learn that from some anywhere else. And then the leadership aspect of it, not everybody that goes through the military is gonna learn that way. But I think it taught me a lot about how to lead because I made a leadership role pretty quick, and I had to like switch not gears really fast in order to like because you get responsibility to lead other people and you get held accountable for those people. So you have to like I don't know the exact words that I want to use for this, but there are things that the military is gonna teach you that you cannot learn anywhere else, basically.
Mother.
I mean, also, I mean, for also what he talked about is head on. I think routine was the key for me, and it's and when we talk about routine, when we're talking about what you do on a daily basis, time management. That's key right there. Time management. I think if there's anything that I learned the most from my boot camp days is time management, patience, patience, because they're gonna test it. They're gonna make you do stuff that you. I'm telling you, they're gonna tell you. You've been through it. You know what I'm talking about. They will test you. They will. I'm gonna give you an example, right? They will have me fold the clothes in a certain way, and then tell me to unfold it just to fold it back how I folded it before. In that moment, yeah, in that moment, I'm like, what? Why am I doing this? But but they just need to bring everybody back down to the ground, right? Because multiple different personalities come in there, right? You will see people in there that are cocky, people that are overconfident, people that think they know everything. So they just gotta humble you. Like I think it's a very humbling experience, and then build you back up, like O said. So for me, discipline, as in time management,
Mhm.
accountability,
Yep.
teaches you accountability like no other. Every action, literally every action in there has consequences. All right. Teamwork. All right. If one person messes up, everybody messed up. Right. It's kind of like, in the beginning we talk about us brothers, right? So for us, if one person fails, if my brother fails to me, I fail too. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I think the military teaches that a lot, like teamwork. Like if they say one team, one fight. You hear that phrase all the time. One team, one fight. Like they actually like ingrained. That's in your brain. Like if one person fails, you all fail. And I think it's essential for young people, especially from our communities, to understand that like you're not alone in this. Again, you have to have support system, but you also need to be somebody else's support system, if that
Mhm.
makes any sense. And I
It
think
does.
they teach that very well. um that's one of the things that I really learned from there.
Mo, and I know you probably gonna have a little bit to add to what they said, and because we have 10 minutes, so I'm looking at the time. I don't want to keep any of you longer than necessary because I know we can go on and on. But really, all of us are Muslims. Mbadunga nyimfani mane come from. Ntol be able to Gambia, we're all Muslims. We all went to Dara. We all pray. At least we try to pray 5 times a day. You know, it's a struggle, but we all try to, man. But my question really is there any point where because of your identity in terms of your faith, you wrestle with that being in the military. On one aspect, because of, obviously you are mostly around non-practicing Muslims, because obviously Mebango Memvananka, Monkey Muslim Bankati, Tolbada Dami, majority, 90% of the people are Muslims. And you are in this institution, Mia Lonko Mojama Bikasali. I really want you to talk to us very briefly about it. And then secondly, if you'd also talk about the somewhat ethical component of it, because Nina Rajibe, Mojama coming volume Indiko, how can you possibly work for American Army Miyalongo, can you call me make a large amount, but in the coming for Mojama Olam Indiko, look, no institution is perfect, right? Like Nkata Saudi Arabia and Kata Fonkology, Hijology, Saudi Arabian government, for example, like a kukuru like a mole, if all the bank you get what I'm saying? That's an uncomfortable conversation, but I'm curious too. And there's gonna be people that are going to criticize all of us, or at least all of you, for being part of that institution. Mia and they do some terrible. They ikakuwa like dunia kono dal, not terrible stuff. Madung afani mane account again, not to put any of you because alibe do ko la jere so kumare ba wakela. But nin so phone on mane account.
Nobody
Well, like a translator, so that.
translate that.
Hanyabo ni manjago le baba.
No,
No, no,
we're not going into detail about it.
Nah,
okay.
But it's crucial, That's what I said,
No, just feel free. I mean, you and
I'm
I
not
can
there for
for
it.
you,
Just
but
speak.
yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
I want more people to understand what I'm saying, because I don't want it to just be like, because English is the official language. I want like Mandinka set of, so why
Yeah.
anybody can understand what I'm
Yes.
trying to say right now. So this is my philosophy, and this is me personally. So it's relative, right? So it could be different from somebody else's perspective, which I respect. You know what I mean? But for me personally, if you take a whole organization like the United States military, which is by far the biggest in the world, and you categorize it under a single file or a single umbrella, you will be wrong. And how you will definitely be wrong no matter how you slice that pie. You see what I'm saying? Because again, like we just mentioned, there's so many different jobs within, and the missions are also going to be just as much different, because when there's an earthquake in most countries in the world, guess who goes to provide aid? It's usually the United States military, right? And I'm not here to say like, oh, everything. Big,
Moral
obviously,
army.
that's what makes this country so beautiful. It's like you can have that conversation openly, even with the people that are in a leadership position. You know what I mean? And then have that back and forth, and still be able to, live on and move on and live your life as you see fit. And as for the Islamic challenges, when I did join, a lot of my friends, yes, they were all Christians, and I mean, Ali Modo has met most of my friends in the military. But the thing is, I am so proud of where I'm from and what my culture is. I used to go to, I was living in the barracks, and Modo was living off base. I'll go cook super or durão. So you know what it is. I'll bring that back to base and feed these people with that, bro. And they were like, "Yo, what's that peanut butter stuff you're giving me, boy?" You know what I mean? So it's like, all I did when I was in, instead of looking at it as, oh, these people are this, they're different from me, I welcomed them to introduce them to who I am, and then I accepted them for who they are. And what that ended up doing for me, in my experience, is it created again this strong bond between people that came from a background that is significantly different from mine. And to this day, I have people that are like, yo, I'm still thinking about that trip to Gambia. You gotta take me with you. You know what I mean? We gotta go
Absolutely.
see where you're from. And all that is because I showed up as my authentic self. I had zero, like, oh, I gotta pretend to be like, no, bro. I eat peanut butter stew. It doesn't look pleasant, but trust me, if you try it, you're gonna want more. And that's kind of like the vibe. Like I showed up, I told them who I am, and I didn't care about the judgments. And that's kind of how I am even in real life as well. So I'm sure there's gonna be some of your viewers that's gonna be like, American military, this and that, and that's okay. That's their prerogative, and they have, all the rights to say that. But ultimately, I would advise. This is my 2 cents. This is my advice. Look into it, research it, and then form an informed decision and not just generalize it from a perspective that probably is not as well informed as it should be. Yeah. So that's what I have for that. I don't want to take too much of your time because, like you said, we can talk about this. We can talk about this for very long.
Yeah.
I would like to add on what he just said. Obviously, I've been in almost 13 years, right? I have spent, if I remember correctly, 4, maybe 5 Ramadans on a ship in the middle of the ocean, right? Surrounded by 99.9% non-Muslims. And what I'm going to tell you right now is probably going to blow your mind. Just this last Ramadan, I was on deployment. And you guys all remember, right? I was in the middle of the ocean somewhere, right? Every single day, they provided us a special meal. I would say about the 20 Muslims that are on a 5,000 manned aircraft carrier. Just to let you understand what life really is like over there, because they don't care about religion. And when I say they don't care about religion, I'm not saying that they don't care. They're not going to provide for you to practice your religion. No, they don't care about religion in the sense that as long as you do your job, they don't give a shit. I mean, excuse my language. They don't care. Yeah, like they really don't care. I've been around people, many uncle. They had this mentality about Muslims are bad, right? But then that's when we come in, how I portray myself, how I behave myself around people. I become that example of what somebody that, of a Muslim is. I'm in the middle of the ocean, and it's time to pray. One of my coworkers that's never met a Muslim before me would tell me, "Hey, did you pray?"
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, so for me, I didn't have, like he said, like just be true to yourself. Like most of these people, they have their idea of what a certain individual group is or religion is based on what they see on TV or what their parents tell them. But Americans like to see for themselves, right? When they see how you act or how you are as an individual, that will change the way they think about you. You know what I mean? So for me, that's how it's been happening for me. Like I've seen people that are like, oh, Muslims are this and this and this and this, and then just their interactions with me and other Muslims, and it changes the way they think. So I think we just got to be that change that we want to see. You know what I mean? And then it just
exactly.
It's just not, it naturally flows. So I haven't had any challenges personally because they've provided us with places to pray in the middle of the ship. They flew an imam out to the ship so we can do nafila in the middle of Ramadan. So that's why I keep doing what I do. I mean, it's not only like they cater to you to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Like, and this is all religions. Doesn't matter if you're Jewish, if you're Christian, if you're atheist. It doesn't matter.
So, thank you very much, Ali, for sharing that. So, what I'm gonna do, and I'm going to indulge all of you. We're getting to the hour mark. I'm going to wrap this first episode right here, and then we will continue on the second episode. So, for all of you that are here still watching, I encourage all of you to just hang on a little bit. The next episode will drop exactly 5 minutes from the end of this episode, and it's been brilliant. My earlier intention was to have this only for 1 hour, and there's a lot of other questions that I haven't even gone through, including the most important, which is the benefits that people care so much about. So when we come back, we're going to go ahead with Usman to tell us if he has anything extra to add to what his brother says and we're going to continue to the other.
He did
half
not
of
waste
the-
any time. That boy gone.
That boy is like, I'm out of here.
That boy gone.
Yeah, so we will be right back, everybody.